no painel de encerramento do 29º Fórum da Liberdade, e passo imediatamente a palavra ao painelista Yaron Brook. Yaron Brook é diretor executivo do Ayn Rand Institute, coautor de Market Revolution, How Ayn Rand's Ideas Can End Big Government, foi colunista da Forbes, engenheiro civil, é diplomado pela Technion Israel Institute of Technology, em Haifa, Israel. Nos Estados Unidos, recebeu seu MBA e seu PhD em finanças pela Universidade do Texas, em Austin. Com a palavra, Yaron Brook. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here in Porto Alegre. It's been 3 years since I was here last, and the welcome is as warm as ever. I would do this speech in Portuguese, but I only know 2 words. So, it's hard to construct the entire speech from 2 words. Who is John Galt? That is the question posed to the panel. Well, the obvious answer is John Galt is a fictional character in a novel, in my view, the best novel ever written, by Ayn Rand. A novel every single one of you should be reading. And you have no excuses not to read it, because it's in Portuguese. It's available right outside there. So go discover who John Galt is by reading Atlas Shrugged. But really, who is John Galt? Because it's more than a fictional character in a book. John Galt has become a symbol of the great productive genius, a symbol of the creator, the builder, the maker, the engineer, the scientist, the businessman. But a symbol of all of those who says, enough is enough. Get your hands out of my pockets. Stop mooching me. Stop looting me. Stop taking my stuff. Stop demanding my sacrifice. Stop demanding my sacrifice. Stop making me feel guilty for things that I should feel proud of. That's who John Galt is. We have a sculpture out there in the auditorium, I'm sure you've all seen it, of a big cow. And all these people are trying to get, I guess, the milk, right? They're all struggling, fighting with one another to get the cow. And the cow in the sculpture represents the state. And everybody there is the welfare state. Everybody trying to get their piece and knocking people out of the way. And it's a great image. You get it, right? It's the welfare state. But it's a deceptive image. The world is much worse than that cow. Because the cow produces its own milk. The state produces nothing, creates nothing. The only way all those people can come suckling at the tits of the state is because they steal it from John Galt first. There is no production at the state level. There is no creation. You and you and you and you produce, you and you create, and then it's taken from you and distributed to other people. So who is John Galt? Well, Ayn Rand said that John Galt was the man who stopped the motor of the world. The man who took a world in decline and accelerated that decline and brought the world to the very bottom of despair so that he could help rebuild the world, rebuild a free world, rebuild a world that respected ability, respected talent, respected creativity, respected the rights of the individual. But what is that motive of the world that John Galt stopped? It's really, really important that we understand what it is that drives the world, that drives the growth, drives the success of the world. Because unfortunately, our society is dominated by a Marxist philosophy that rejects the idea of the real motor. What is it? What is it that produces the real values that we all have? What is it that makes our life possible? What is it that creates this beautiful auditorium, these wonderful lights, the video projection, your clothes, the food that you ate before you came here? What is the motor that actually produces the wealth and the standard of living and the quality of life that we have? What is the tool that we must use in order to live successfully? It is our minds. It is our reason. It is our capacity to think. And this is what's being attacked. Our capacity to think, it's what's being attacked over and over and over again. For Marx, it's not the mind that creates value. What creates value for Marx? Muscle. I shouldn't point there. There's not much there. But muscle. Muscle is what creates value. The rejection of the mind. And indeed, if you ask, why do we still have socialism, given its utter, complete, unequivocal, unquestionable failure? Just look at Venezuela. The answer is because people take socialism on faith, not on reason. Socialism is the rejection of reason. It's the rejection of fact. It's the rejection of evidence. It's the rejection of economics. Socialism is, people believe in socialism on faith, not on evidence, not on facts, not on reason. And it's no accident that socialism is a consequence of Marx and the whole tradition of philosophy that has rejected the idea of the efficacy, the competence of the human mind, of human reason. What is the other reason that socialism is still alive and well in all its various forms? Statism, fascism, socialism, social democracy, that's a popular word today. Because socialism is the only economic system in all its variations consistent with the moral values, the moral ideals that we have all been taught since we were this big. Because we were taught when we were very little that in a moral sense, in a fundamental sense, in a real sense, our lives don't belong to us. Our moral duties, our moral responsibilities are not to our own life, not to our own happiness, not to our own success, but to others. The greatest moral virtues are being selfless. The greatest moral virtue is to sacrifice. Well, socialism, all they do is ask you to sacrifice. What are you complaining about? This is what morality has taught you. This is virtue. This is good. So you're suffering? Who cares? Suffering is a sign that you've been selfless. I would worry if you were happy, because that would probably mean you're being a little self-interested in life. And we know that self-interest is a no-no. Socialism is alive and well because the morality of altruism, the morality of otherism, the morality that says that your life does not belong to you, that your life is there to serve others, is alive and well. John Galt says no. John Galt rejects that idea. John Galt is the Atlas who shrugs and who says, I'm not carrying the world anymore because I don't believe in this morality. My life is mine. Your life is yours. My duty, my responsibility is not to live for you, it's to live for me, to make my life the best that it can be. And you should make your life the best that it can be. You know, this was a revolution, and this is what really makes America great. In 1776, for the first time in human history, the American founders declared that for the first time in human history, your life did not belong to the tribe, or to the state, or to the Pope, or to any collective group out there. For the first time in human history, we had a political recognition that your life belonged to you. And the state's only job, only responsibility, only duty is to protect your life, is to protect your freedom, to provide you with the security, which, by the way, you Brazilians do not have, it turns out, right? Which to me, if you're looking for one sign of the failure of the Brazilian state, it's the fact that you cannot walk at night safely in your streets. Because that is the one responsibility of the state, to keep us safe. That's it. They just did that job, life would be great. The founders of America declared that we each have an inalienable right to our own lives. What does that mean? What does a right mean? Today that word is abused and being raped by the left. Rights mean freedoms, freedom of action. What it means that you have a right to your life means that you must be free to act in pursuit of the values necessary to make your life the best life that it can be for you. For the first time in human history, there was this declaration that you are not a slave. You are not a servant of society. You're not a cog in a machine. There is no collective consciousness, but it's you, your life. That's what's important. And how do we live our lives? How do we make the most of our lives? If we want to live the best life that we can live, what is the tool that allows us to do that? Well, it's the same tool the engineer uses. It's the same tool the scientist uses. It's the motor who drives the world, because ultimately the motor that drives the world is the motor that drives you. It's your reason. It's your ability to reason, to think rationally, to take in facts, integrate them, create new knowledge, and move forward. And this is true of science, but this is also true on what values you should pursue as a human being. So, John Galt, who is John Galt, right, is the man who says your life is yours, to live as you see fit, to pursue rational values that will make your life the best life that it can be, and that is the essence of morality. Now, if I'm such a person who wants to succeed and achieve and use my reason, what is the enemy? What does the enemy look like? What can stop me from doing that? What can stop me from achieving my values, from achieving my success, from achieving my life? It's a gun. It's force. It's coercion. If somebody places a gun to the back of your head, forget about reason. Right? Hopefully you know some jiu-jitsu, but reason is not relevant. So this is the reason why we want to form a state in which coercion is banned. Because if you ban coercion, you free up the human spirit, you free up human reason, you free up individuals to pursue their values, to pursue their life, to exercise their thinking in the way that they believe in. So the non-initiation principle, the non-initiation of force that libertarians talk about, rests on a foundation of morality, a morality of individualism. Collectivism necessitates force. Altruism necessitates force. It is only individualism, a morality of individualism, that leads to the non-initiation of force. And of course, people who want to live a reasoned life don't want mother government telling them how to live and how not to live. They want to be free. They want to be left alone. So freedom is a consequence of the value of each one of you as individuals. Freedom is a consequence, not a starting point, of an individualistic philosophy and individualistic morality. So who's John Galt? John Galt is any one of you who chooses to be John Galt. It's any one of you who chooses to live your life fully, rationally, in pursuit of values, meaningful values. John Galt is any one of you who stands up and fights. Fights for freedom. Fights for your own life. Fights for your own liberty. What John Galt is calling on us to do is to rise up and revolt. What he's calling on us is for revolution. Not the revolution of muskets, not the revolution of guns, but the revolution of ideas. What we need are new ideas. We need to throw out the old ideas. We need to educate a culture out there of these new ideas. And we need to go to Brasilia and clean house. Right at the foundation. Now, Brazil is at a turning point, hopefully for much better. But what Brazil really needs right now is an army of John Galts. An army committed to individualism and freedom and property rights. An army committed to a political system that does one thing and does it well: protects our rights. An army that will take the Brazilian Constitution and put it in the trash can of history. And create a new constitution built on the principles that the founding fathers, not just of America, I think of the founding fathers as the founding fathers of any country that wants to be free, based on the principles articulated by the founding fathers of all free men, the principles of individual rights, the principles of individual liberty. So who is John Galt? John Galt is you if you choose to be him. Thank you all.
Agradecemos a participação inicial, Sr. Yaron Brook. A seguir passaremos à sessão de perguntas e respostas e iniciaremos o debate. Eu peço aos presentes que encaminhem as respostas pelo aplicativo do Fórum da Liberdade, que na medida do possível eu selecionarei e encaminharei aos palestrantes. Eu acho que a primeira pergunta vai para o Eduardo. Eduardo, tu falaste muito no princípio marxista, né, numa crítica ao princípio marxista, de que a cada um segundo suas necessidades e de cada um segundo suas possibilidades, que é uma crítica também da Ayn Rand. Se tu pudesse concretizar um pouco mais esse princípio, como é que ele foi visto na Argentina, ou melhor, como é que ele foi aplicado pelos governos argentinos nos últimos anos, principalmente da Cristina e do Nestor, na sociedade, como isso restringiu a liberdade individual do povo argentino ao longo dos últimos anos?
Necesito una vivienda. Tengo 7 filhos. Usted tiene la obligación de proveérmela. ¿Cuál es el argumento moral del que hablaba Yaron behind it? Es el argumento de que si estoy sufriendo, usted tiene la obligación de solucionar mi necesidad. Necesito un trabajo y no tengo ninguna habilidad o lo que fuere. Entonces el Estado tiene la obligación de darle trabajo. De 2 millones de empleados públicos que tenía el Estado argentino, ahora tiene 4,5. ¿Quién paga el sueldo? Los taxpayers. Usted, yo y todos los que estamos allí. necesito, tengo una industria que requiere que no estamos en condiciones de competir. Importamos televisores de China, los llevamos a Uruguay, los desarmamos, los llevamos a Tierra del Fuego, los armamos de nuevo y los vendemos en Buenos Aires. Un televisor que usted paga en Miami $1.000, en Buenos Aires lo paga $2.500. ¿Y entonces qué? Entonces cada argentino que quiere tener un televisor es mucho más pobre. ¿Basado en qué premisa? Necessity creates rights. La necesidad crea derechos. Si usted no sabe defender por qué eso está mal y por qué usted tiene derecho a su propia vida, como Yaron was doing it, si usted no sabe dar el argumento moral que usted tiene derecho a su propia vida y no se meta conmigo porque usted va a ligar, porque yo me voy a defender y porque es incorrecto, porque es injusto. Seducción, sí. Usted me hace sentir bien, yo le hago sentir bien. Violación, rape, no. Si usted no me hace sentir bien, yo le hago sentir mal, no. Contrato, sí. Guns, no.
Muito obrigado, Eduardo. Davi, no painel de ontem, o empresário Salim Matar, ao responder à indagação Quem move o mundo, destacou o papel de protagonismo da ambição individual como motor da sociedade. Contudo, na sociedade brasileira em especial, parece que estamos mais afeitos a ideias como altruísmo, sacrifício, doação, do que a pensamentos como a ambição, o lucro, a eficiência, a produtividade. Em outras palavras, é uma aplicação também do princípio que foi repetido agora pelo Eduardo. Dito isso, é possível no Brasil visualizar a virtude no egoísmo ou a virtude no auto-interesse, na busca por esse interesse individual, numa sociedade ou num Estado que valoriza cada vez mais o coletivismo?
O Jabor falou algo aqui que achei interessante, que foi que está otimista com os rumos da Lava Jato, e eu também estou otimista. Eu acho que o que está acontecendo de bom no Brasil é essa Lava Jato, e cada vez que se usa como estratégia atacar o Sérgio Moro e o pessoal da República de Curitiba, quem faz isso, na verdade, está fazendo um tremendo, terrível desserviço ao Brasil. Eu sempre digo que os petistas, eles gostam mais do PT do que do Brasil, porque a gente sabe que as coisas sempre aconteceram assim no Brasil, sempre houve impunidade no Brasil. E pela primeira vez está havendo punição no Brasil. E a punição, esse princípio que eu estou dizendo, é o princípio da responsabilização. Sempre se teve pena no Brasil, né? A gente tem, por que a gente tem 4 instâncias na justiça, né? Para tentar, houve um trauma, digamos, com a ditadura, em que os direitos individuais, de certa forma, eram menores, né? E agora se assegura direitos porque se tem pena. A gente tem pena, não tem que responsabilizar as pessoas também, né? Então, para tudo isso, essa liberdade que a gente está debatendo aqui, sobre o qual nós estamos falando, e esse individualismo implica em assumir suas responsabilidades, sabe? É importante isso. Esse passo que está acontecendo no Brasil agora, de a sociedade, de a gente ver que tem pessoas que estão tendo que assumir as suas responsabilidades pelo que fizeram e estão sendo punidas pelos erros que cometeram, isso é um grande passo para o Brasil. Isso é um grande passo, porque a partir daí a gente vai começar a construir uma sociedade que realmente as coisas comecem a funcionar, né? Essa Lava Jato é a nossa bênção, sabe? Agora, no momento, a gente está num momento ruim, está doendo porque a mudança dói, é uma lei de Newton, uma lei da física, né? A gente está no movimento que tira o uniforme, tu tá querendo ficar naquele movimento, se está na inércia, que né, tu quer ficar naquele não movimento. Quando a gente se move, dói. Toda mudança é uma violência, e a gente está mudando para melhor, tenho certeza disso, tenho certeza que no momento em que a gente começar a compreender de que a gente tem que se responsabilizar pelos nossos atos, e se tiver que ser punido, vai ter que ser punido, né? Nós vamos começar a poder, sim, aí ser indivíduos com liberdade, né? Porque nós vamos saber usar essa liberdade.
Muito obrigado. Yaron, eu recebi diversas perguntas para ti, e as duas perguntas que eu tinha, respondeste na tua apresentação. Curiosamente, eu recebi uma pergunta da Ayn Rand, acho que ela está em algum lugar aqui no palco, e a pergunta que ela gostaria de saber, a suposta Ayn Rand, é se ela estivesse viva hoje, e ela olhasse para os Estados Unidos e olhasse para o Brasil, ela veria um vale de Galt em algum dos dois, ou ela não veria, e qual seria a crítica que ela endereçaria a essa visão?
So it's always difficult to be in a position where I need to speak for Ayn Rand. She was a genius. I am not. But I think that if she were alive today, she would be depressed. She wrote Atlas Shrugged in 1957. That's, almost 70 years ago. And she wrote Atlas Shrugged with the intention that it should never come to be. The whole point of writing Atlas Shrugged was to prevent it becoming a reality. And yet what we're seeing in the United States and in Brazil is Atlas shrugging, not of his own free will, which is what happens in the book, right? Well, I don't want to give away the ending or the middle, because some of you haven't read the book. But Atlas is shrugging because he's being forced to shrug, because our controls, our regulations, our prohibitions are restricting the ability of the producers, the innovators, the thinkers, the scientists to actually create and produce and make stuff and make the world a better place for all of us. So she would be sad because what she describes in Atlas is actually happening. There is no Galt's Gulch. I mean, I wish there was. I wish I could believe in the seasteading idea. I wish I could think that was the solution to our problem. I don't think it is. I think the solution is right here, right now. We need a fight. This is what Ayn Rand, I think, called us to arms, if you will. Now, the United States is on the decline, in my view, and this election is the most depressing thing that I can remember living in the United States for a long, long time. I couldn't have imagined this election 4 or 5 years ago even. The idea that you would have Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump basically sharing almost 50% of the U.S. vote. Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, two sides of the same coin, the same statist, collectivist coin, is horrific. The idea that Americans are so angry, frustrated, and emotional and scared is the key, that they would vote for authoritarians like Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, makes me scared and depressed. And the appeal of both candidates is purely emotional. It's not factual. And they both use fear of the other. In Bernie Sanders' case, it's fear of the billionaires and millionaires, millionaires and billionaires. Every speech he gives, millionaires and billionaires, 50,000 times in the speech. In Donald Trump's case, it's fear of Chinese and Japanese and Mexicans and immigrants and whatever. But it's fear. This is the trick of every authoritarian in human history, particularly blaming the other and using fear of the other as a way to coalesce support. So America is on the decline, and it's very sad to see. I'm kind of, I hesitate to say this, but I'm kind of optimistic here in Brazil, because I see this. Where else do you get in the world 2,000 people gathered? And I really congratulate the IEE for putting on an event like this and for doing it now, 30 years. I mean, it is an incredible achievement. And to get 2,000 people into a room who believe in freedom, there are disagreements here in the room, there's no question. We don't agree on all the details, but we're basically all focused on more freedom, more limited government, more individual freedom. I see, you know, the students and the numbers of the students who are now rallying to the cause of freedom in Brazil. You know, Students for Liberty told me that they're now, I think, 5 times more student organizers in Brazil than they are in the whole United States. I mean, that's pretty amazing. You guys should be proud, and you guys should be hopeful. I think this impeachment in Brazil is a great event if it happens, because it'll show the powers to be. It'll show the political establishment that they're not immune, not completely immune. And it'll show the people that they can have an impact. So let's hope it happens. So I think Ayn Rand would be depressed. I think it's probably, I mean, I hate to say this, but I think it's probably better she died in 1982. When there was a sign of optimism in the West. And today, I think, if you look at the West, if you look at Western Europe, if you look at the United States, what you see is cultural decline. What you see is political decline. What you see is the decline of freedom. And I think she weeps for us. Sorry.
Muito obrigado. Eduardo, posso falar em português? Acho que tu entendes bem, né? Muito se fala do efeito Macri, né? E das consequências que isso tem gerado em toda a América Latina. A própria visita do presidente Obama na Argentina é um retrato disso. Como é que tu enxergas os principais desafios do Macri? E há outros? Qual o movimento que está suportando o Macri? Há uma base, de fato, de John Galt suportando o Macri, ou foi uma eleição que acabou acontecendo em razão do período de trevas que a Argentina vivia até então? Qual é a tua opinião nesse sentido?
Macri leyó The Fountainhead y la interpretación que hizo de Yaron Brook es una buena interpretación. Entendió la importancia del individualismo, pero cree que es utópico. Y la comprensión del sistema moral que tiene que respaldar a una sociedad libre, para mí no está. Y la gente que lo sigue a él no se fala liberal, se fala desenvolventista, o no sé cómo se dice en portugués, desarrollista. Entonces, lo que usted se encuentra es cosas muy buenas. Nuestro único aliado era Venezuela e Irán. Estamos haciendo pactos incluso de misiles con Irán, y muchos sospechamos que la muerte del fiscal Nisman tuvo mucho que ver con eso. Ojalá se descubra por los atentados a la AMIA y de la Embajada de Israel. Dejamos de pagar las cuentas, Argentina está en default, está normalizando. Nos reconciliamos con el mundo. Un discurso de Cristina en la ONU falaba que ISIS era una invención, cuando decapitaban a los prisioneros, era una invención de Hollywood. En la ONU, Cristina diciendo, eso es pura mentira, es una invención, es propaganda capitalista. Teníamos ese perfil de presidenta y está normalizando, está pagando los fondos, está eliminando subsidios, está parando la inflación, está haciendo cosas para normalizar Argentina. Nos estamos volviendo un país normal. Vamos a crecer 2% anual. A este ritmo estamos bajando el gasto público 50% del PBI. Un país que no tiene capital acumulado porque lo va a bajar al 25%. Lo que está haciendo en este momento es tomando crédito futuro. ¿Contra qué? Contra el arreglo de los fondos buitres, para poder salir del problema y para no tener que emitir tanto, porque estamos al borde de la hiperinflación. Está normalizando, pero eso ya lo intentó hacer el gobierno militar con Martínez de Hoz, lo intentó hacer Alfonsín, lo intentó hacer Menem y lo intentaron hacer los Kirchner. Reemplazar gasto público, inflación, emisión monetaria con endeudamiento no sirve, porque después hay que pagar la deuda. Entonces, ¿qué tiene que hacer? Tiene que achicar el gasto público, tiene que cerrar secretarías, tiene que cerrar ministerios, tiene que cerrar fútbol para todos, tiene que abrir los cielos y decir a Aerolíneas Argentinas adiós, goodbye, tiene que vender YPF, tiene que privatizar el subsuelo y abrir la minería para que tengamos Houston, Texas. ¿Tiene la convicción para hacer eso? No, porque cree que la necesidad crea derechos y en el fondo no comprende cómo el aparato productivo se detiene si no se los deja a ustedes producir en paz. No apuesta a eso. La transición y la prudencia está bien, pero tendrá el coraje para hacer el gran cambio. Necesita estar, la verdad es, además si tuviera el coraje, ¿la cultura argentina respalda eso? ¿O lo ahorcan en la Plaza de Mayo? Por eso es tan importante el trabajo de IEE. El trabajo de ustedes es sembrar la cultura que le permita después a la calle, al Tuto Quiroga, a Cardoso hacer el cambio. Porque si ellos intentan hacer el cambio en contra de la opinión pública, los que terminan muertos son ellos. Primero el cambio cultural. Politics, culture, it's politics for breakfast. Esa se la robé a Stephen Hicks, que a su vez tomó parte de Peter Drucker. La cultura determina la sociedad, los valores que ustedes tengan. Si ustedes son altruistas, socialistas, colectivistas, quieren tener un gobierno liberal, no vaya a acontecer. Por eso tienen que pelear 1 hora por día. Leer, pelear, argumentar 1 hora por día en todo Brasil.
Obrigado. Davi, nesse período nos Estados Unidos, se tu pudesse destacar uma característica ou algum aspecto, né, que te fez alterar algum posicionamento, seja como formador de opinião ou como jornalista, tu consegue ver uma evolução na tua visão de mundo a partir dessa vivência americana, ou tu voltas para o Brasil hoje, tal como tu foste?
Não, claro, eu espero que esteja evoluindo sempre, né? Se não modificar com experiências novas, aí de que adianta estar tendo experiências novas, né? Não, eu acho que muita coisa eu aprendi com os Estados Unidos, exatamente fazendo essa comparação, né, do Brasil com os Estados Unidos, e as coisas que nós estamos discutindo aqui, que estão sendo faladas aqui, tem muito a ver com isso, né? Os Estados Unidos é um país múltiplo, variado, ele é mais heterogêneo do que o Brasil. Isso foi algo que até de certa forma me surpreendeu. Um país que tem mais variedade e é mais... a gente diz assim que existem muitas diferenças no Brasil, nos Estados Unidos são muito maiores, né? Boston é uma cidade que é uma Babel. A gente vai caminhando por Boston, ouve todas as línguas, vê pessoas de todas as partes do mundo. Eles chamam de The Hub, né, porque é o centro, eles são meio exibidos lá em New England, porque eles dizem que é o centro cultural, educacional da América, né? E de certa forma é mesmo, né? Só Harvard tem 47 prêmios Nobel, né? Então a gente vê, né, a maneira como eles encaram com seriedade isso que eu estava dizendo. Por exemplo, quando eu suponho que você saiba, eu fui para lá para participar de um trial, porque eu estava com câncer, né, e deu certo. Quero dizer para vocês que eu estou bom, né, e graças a esse tratamento, né, e só para vocês terem ideia, o cientista que estava comandando o tratamento é alemão, o outro, que é o número 1 do câncer de rim do mundo, é um libanês, um outro médico que é o melhor do mundo em câncer de osso é um italiano, e um brasileiro, o André Fay, que é o médico brasileiro, que voltou aqui para Porto Alegre, inclusive, brasileiro. Essa era a equipe que estava ali envolvida comigo, né? Uma equipe internacional, as enfermeiras que eram americanas. Então eles importam cérebros, eles querem isso, eles querem qualidade, eles querem... E essa meritocracia da qual a gente está falando, assim, que realmente existe nos Estados Unidos, que realmente funciona, e que é algo que eles não têm preconceito, eles recebem muito bem as pessoas de fora, desde que as pessoas sejam boas, né? Isso aí é algo que fez com que eu visse que existe também uma chance para nós brasileiros. Eu acho que esse encontro aqui é de certa forma, uma prova disso, porque demonstra pessoas que estão tentando evoluir, estão tentando aprender, estão tentando ver como é que as coisas funcionam, estão tentando abrir sua cabeça e se transformar em pessoas melhores, né?
Obrigado. Yaron, teria várias perguntas aqui, eu vou tentar sintetizá-las em uma. Como é possível multiplicar os John Galts brasileiros? Como é possível criar um modelo escalável, né, de cérebros e inventores no Brasil?
Well, a scalable model, I don't know, but look, the battle in the end is an educational battle. What we need is to educate people about the ideas at the foundation of freedom, at the foundation of liberty. What we need to educate people about is in a new way of looking at the world. We are still held captive. We are still prisoners to the same philosophy and moral code that the West has had with one small episode of rejection that the West has basically had for 2,000 years. And a small window of opportunity was the Enlightenment, the Age of Reason, the 18th century, out of which the United States came. We need to resurrect the Enlightenment. We need to resurrect the Age of Reason. We need to admire and respect achievement. We need to celebrate the great entrepreneurs in Brazil and in America and in everywhere around the world. We need to respect and celebrate the men of the mind, the men of reason, the men of science, the men and women who create, who make, who build. That was the attitude during the Age of Reason. If you think about the Age of Reason, it starts with Isaac Newton, right? Physics, right? It was about explaining the physical world, showing how the physical world works. And suddenly human beings realized that they can know the world without mystical revelation, without faith, that reason was a tool that actually allowed them to understand the world around them. And then they said, wait a minute, if we have this tool and we can understand the world around us, then maybe we can take care of ourselves without the philosopher king telling us what and how we should behave. Maybe we can vote for our own leaders. Maybe we can create our own property and take care of our own lives. That's the revolution of the Enlightenment. With the discovery of physical rules, physical principles, suddenly there was a demand for principles to guide us in every aspect of our lives, but principles that we as individuals discover. Newtonian physics is not that hard. Every one of you can figure it out. It's taught at good schools in 9th or 10th grade. Right? So if anybody can understand Newton, anybody can take care of themselves. Anybody can live their own lives. And you empower the poor, you empower former slaves, you empower everybody in society that they own their own life, they're responsible for their own life, and they can take care of themselves. And that the only way for them as individuals to achieve happiness is not by sucking on the cow's tit, right? It's by working for a living. It's by building and creating for themselves. It's by having pride in their own achievements. And that's true of a janitor as much as it is true of an entrepreneur. What we need is to resurrect that spirit in human beings, a spirit that existed for a very short period of time in human history, maybe in Greece, maybe in the Age of Enlightenment. But pride in one's own achievements, pride in one's own life, focus on one's own happiness at every level of the socioeconomic ladder. It's not an issue of how much wealth you have. It's not an issue of how much IQ you have. It's an issue of your own personal choices and your own personal ambitions. So how do we multiply this? We go out there and we educate people that their lives are worth living. You get one shot at this in life. All of us get one shot at this. Make it count. Make the most of it. And that's the message we should send to everybody. Everybody out there, no matter where they come from, no matter where they live. And that there are real opportunities, and the opportunities lie in freedom. The opportunities lie in liberty. The opportunities lie when the shackles get lifted and we're allowed to pursue our own happiness. So go out there and fight and educate and read and study 1 hour a day. What the hell? Make it 2 hours a day, right? There's a lot of work to be done, and we're way behind, way behind. So go out there, let's educate the world. This is about ideas. It's ideas that shape the world. Not individuals, not entrepreneurs. At the end of the day, what shapes the world are ideas. We should be the conveyors of ideas. We should be the educators of the world. Let's go out there and win.
Muito obrigado, Yaron. Com isso, declaro encerrado o painel e agradeço a presença dos palestrantes e passo a palavra ao Felipe, que vai fazer o encerramento do Fórum da Liberdade. Muito obrigado.